Hello everybody, how you doing? This is Kinesiology 231. These are the annotated notes from the book. This will be chapter 1, presentation 7, specifically talking about obesity, and this section in chapter 1 begins on page 18, if you would like to follow along. The book jumps right into BMI in this section when you start talking about obesity, and BMI, personally, I don't care for it all that much. I mean, it has its place, I understand it, etc., but as a practitioner, I just don't care for it. Now, BMI is the weight of the person in kilograms divided by their height in meters squared. And when you look at individuals who are over 20 years old and they have a BMI between 25 and 29 kilograms per meter squared, they're considered as overweight. And those with a 30 or more BMI are considered obese. So the question becomes, what does that mean? What does that mean, right? Because in terms of like, okay, what's my height and what's my weight in the metric system? And then what does 30 look like? What does 25 look like? And sometimes it's difficult to wrap yourselves around that. And it's a tool to help people kind of understand a little bit more clearly. So if you look over here to the left, right, you have a male client who comes in, perhaps they're a little bit obese, they're 40 years old, they haven't worked out in a while, and they come to you because they're a little bit out of shape, maybe a little bit paunchy, and they're like, oh, you know what, I want to run up and down the soccer field with my kid, be able to get up and down the stairs and function, right? And at 5'11", I could probably handle dropping about 20 pounds. All right. Well, if you do the math, right, 208 converted to kilograms is 94.34. 5'11" comes to 1.8 meters. And then over here you have 1.8 meters squared becomes 3.24. You divide that into your 94.34. Sorry about the math. Somebody lied to you when you said you never need it again. But you do, and you will need it for an assignment. That yields a BMI of just over 29 or 29 kilograms per meter squared. So in this example, the client will be considered obese. I mean, like right on the borderline of overweight to obese. And when you look at this, you go, okay, well, fine. We can try to bring your BMI down. We'll try to lose your 20 pounds. You know, it's going to help you. Okay, great, got it. But where BMI fails us is if you look at these numbers, they actually belong to a rookie running back for the Chicago Bears. His name is Artavius Pierce. He's a running back out of Oregon State. Here's the link over to the website for the Bears. And believe me when I tell you, this individual is a highly trained, well-fit individual who probably has on the order of 6% body fat. And so to say that Mr. Pierce is overweight or almost considered obese is just foolish. So BMI unfortunately fails us when we have an athlete involved. And it fails us because form follows function in athletics. And BMI works for insurance companies who want to classify. It works for individuals who want to kind of categorize their clients to be able to figure out where they are and their starting off places, but it doesn't always work. So just take BMI with a little grain of caution because it might fail you, and it'll fail you in this case with Mr. Pierce because he's clearly a fit dude. Now, I have worked downtown in a medical group for several years, and with this group, I was exposed to and worked with high BMI patients, people who are anorexic, people who are bulimic, people who had other eating disorders, other trauma-related issues. And in this group, we had doctors, nutritionists, and myself. I was the personal trainer. So I handled like the workout parts as an integrated component of a medical group. The people that I dealt with, for example, like I can think of two ladies in particular where they were in the bulimic group, but they didn't purge as you normally would, like a bulimic. They did exercise purging, and both of them, mid-20s, 25, 26 years old, ran themselves right into the emergency room having had an MI because they ate a candy bar the night before. And the other one ate some chocolate cake the night before, so they wanted to burn the calories off. So they ran on a treadmill for approximately 6 hours, basically ran themselves right into the ER. Talk about conviction, holy cow. And the individuals I dealt with the high BMI, these were big-bodied people. I mean, we're talking 500-pounders, right? And with these individuals, if you look at it and you do the math on it, right, 500-pounder, convert it to kilograms, convert the height, 5'11". That was a very common number, 5'11", 500 pounds. These individuals come up with a 67.79 BMI. You're talking big people, and they fight with the same issues that you and I fight with, but they also have, in turn, like one of my clients in that group, he called it fat bias. He goes into a meeting, people don't want to listen to him because he's obese. Although this individual, he might have been an outlier on a BMI scale, he was also an outlier in terms of fitness. This guy could work out super hard and had just unbelievable conviction to be in shape, but people didn't see that. So he had his own psychological, emotional issues that were tied into this, and most of the people that were in this group had some kind of type of psychological trauma event. That, for example, like my BMI people, mostly they had some traumatic event where the extra weight became their armor, if you will. Anorexics and bulimics were more about control and controlling their bodies. So there's a psychological edge to them. And we can talk more about that in other lectures. But for right now, I just want to get across that these guys were big body people, and they had to work unbelievably hard at everything they did every day, going upstairs, going to work, being on public transportation, having bias in the workplace. So these individuals were really something to work with. And I can't tell you the appreciation I had after working with this group. It was really neat to see and talk to these people. BMI becomes a little bit goofy when you get on a BMI chart like this. It really allows actuaries in an insurance company to place people and place them for different insurance policies. That's a big part of it. And I can tell you, I have one client who just completely was upset because he was, highly driven, highly motivated individual, worked out on a regular basis, really fit, could run. He worked out hard, and he was classified as obese, and he wasn't. And unfortunately, this does not take into account body composition. Had it, he would be more on the healthy side. But because of his height to weight ratio, he was classified as obese, and he was just livid. And I had to spend part of a session explaining to him this chart and BMI and why he was placed where he was for an insurance policy for his family. He was placed in a higher risk category as a result of that BMI, which is wrong in my opinion, but that's the way it was. So the book lists a couple studies, and the one that I really want to pull out, there's two. One of them is, if you're young and you're obese, you're going to have a 70% chance of becoming overweight as an adult. And you need to stress that when you work with younger kids as well. They might not fully understand that, but you kind of need to stress the working out as a lifestyle and fitness as a lifestyle. It should permeate and kind of lead through the rest of your life. And the book also notes that genetics can play a role. And they note that the 70% number that's seen above in this bullet point, in the first bullet point, increases to 80% if one or both of the parents are overweight or obese. I didn't find anything in this, and I was challenged to find information. But this could be nature or nurture, right? It could be environmental. Just presumably, if you have parents who are overweight or obese, it's just their genetic predisposition to carry more adipose tissue, right? Or it could be these individuals just do not make good decisions regarding fitness as well as nutrition. So it could be environmental. They didn't really differentiate, but I want to point that out because sometimes you're smoking gun when you're working with clients. It could be nature, it could be nurture, it could be both. So one of the biggest statistics for having adherence to an exercise program, it's top, if not the top, it's top two or three. It's having support from your spouse at home. And as a result, your spouse will get rid of all the ice cream and cookies out of the cabinet so you can then achieve your fitness goals. So it's an interesting environmental conversation that they don't touch on in the book, and I wish they would have. But just that's a side note for you guys. Another study was more of a longitudinal study, big study. You're talking 40 years, 900 participants. That's big. You're not talking like 6 people over a 10-week workout program. This is a solid study, and it's on the right-hand side of page 19 towards the top. You can kind of dig into it, and it shows there are different evaluation windows at different ages, 20, 40, 56, and 62. Not surprisingly, what they find is if you had an obesity increase from 20 to 40, and the BMI increased over that time, it'll flow through to other illnesses later on in life. If your BMI went up from 40 to 56, your flow through will be other issues and illnesses later on in life. So the key is manage the BMI, manage the weight through a strategy of good nutrition, good diet, and workouts. And they noted that there's a specific relationship between inflammation and hypertension and other illnesses directly related to BMI. Take a minute to look at that because you want to be able to articulate that to your clients. And so the authors also point out that we have this kind of potent combination, and I call it a wicked combination, of sedentary lifestyle, sedentary activities of daily living, sedentary um, activities at leisure, playing video games after being at work all day, being on a computer. And we also have this accessibility to calorically dense foodstuffs. You know, nobody wants to take the time to actually prepare food and have whole foodstuffs and solid natural products. They'd rather just have something prepackaged and pre-made. And so as a result, there's a higher caloric content. And usually calorically dense foods are just not nutritionally dense. Unfortunately, it's just the case. So it presents this wicked combination where you have a sedentary lifestyle with increased caloric intake and your net caloric balance is much higher. So people put on fat, adipose tissue. And obesity goes up and so does BMI. And so this is just my kind of on a soapbox here. You know, as a practitioner, you influence, or the influence that you exact on people, you can't discount that. These people are seeking you out as an expert, and you're the catalyst to make change in their lives. And they seek you out because you have this expertise in this field. And as a result, you need to be able to find that magic combination, right? Educate your clients, have some behavior modification that you implement in with them, and some positive coaching to kind of motivate them along the way are all highly successful tools in helping your clients reach their fitness goals. And reaching fitness goals can include everything we've talked about in previous presentations, but also reducing obesity and reducing BMI. So don't discount what it is you do when you're with clients. Make sure you understand this because you could literally be the person that makes a change for that client. And if that person is sitting at a table across from you, they've already inferred, if they've not even told you, they've already stated, I want to make change. And that's what you need to capitalize on to help you motivate your clients with goals and help to implement workouts that work. All right, guys, with that, I'm signing off. Another presentation coming up.